Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you can hear me okay. Lighting might be a little bit off here. Try to get lighting all day. And the right thing is all the different events and stuff going on. You can definitely feel the frequency at the moment. There's definitely a little more cooling on the earth right now. I guess with all the news that's dropped in the United States of over the decision at this moment for Fauci and what happened with COVID-19. And meanwhile, while the all the other powers that be that are in chairs at this moment are more worried about Brookfield and the price of bacon and tariffs at this moment. But we've been, sitting here for quite a few years to get an understanding and a decision and a ruling making on how this was handled. And there was a lot of things that were not humanely and properly handled in these situations. And using an amendment out of the Constitution to plead the fifth is not, practical in the Americans' eyes here at this moment, like many other situations that I've been sitting here stewing over for the last couple weeks here. And I've been spending a lot of time following a lot of the followers, listening to all their content, and as many things come out of the mind and out of the universe to get out to all the people right now. There's been a lot of different situations, but as we've been here to put the truth out there, the consciousness, higher consciousness, Christ consciousness, that's what Jesus brought to the earth a very long time ago. It wasn't religion. And we've been bouncing back and forth, using it as basically a big political and, movement tool. It's always coming back and forth. It's about finding your way out of the matrix, as you always hear that word. It means to be standing out on your own 2 feet and making your own personal decisions and finding your way into consciousness where you're not having to do this by yourself anymore, knowing that you're open to source and you can hear the stuff that comes in, and so that gives you the guidance. And lately that seems to be a big problem with the guidance. I've been, as I've been following a lot of the other content creators and many out there that are spending tirelessly putting the truth out right now. And our biggest threat right now has been the censoring and downright just, discredited and thrown off to the wayside, that we're not allowed to, speak and, let's say what's on our mind. And a lot of the stuff that we talk about is our own personal journeys on the earth. And what we've experienced to help others. YouTube is, one of the greatest sources for a tool to use, with most of the public, building yourself a place to, come and share with others. And if you got stuff to, pass on and help, lead, teach, you need help yourself. It's great for the comment fields. It's great for, many, different multifaceted tool options that people can have at this moment in time in the time that we're in. Going back, 50 years ago, we didn't have these types of tools and options. I mean, we've always had the television, and they've always had their say. But when we start seeing that in the community groups and the content that's happening. We've got music that is, becoming a problem. It upsets in other countries. We have language barrier problems that upsets other countries. We've got all kinds of issues at this moment that are working, against our favor, especially when the Antichrist and, demons and other situations that come at hand and come against people. It's not that you can get strictly straight a strike, but what's happening is that you can't view some stuff in some places. And, it's becoming more and more where, people are all day long looking for people to, find their way to that are lost with the situations that are happening. And a lot of the stuff that is not being put out on mainstream media right now, it's been still being scripted and narrative to keep the great ones, you know, ticking and just keep you spinning in your seat all day long. And that's been going on for a very long time. But, as content creators here, we're here, and, these are what these platforms are. And it's not that we want to lose them or anything. And, and a lot of the stuff they listen to is not where it's anything harmful. It's just straight up the real, raw truth on a lot of situations where a lot of people may not want to hear it. But that's your choice. But it's also your choice to leave the channel and go find what works for you and not to hang out on it. People's comments, the bots, all the stuff that's been coming up. I see a lot of content creators that are very, very upset. But the biggest thing, it's bots. Paid people to go in there and bug all day long, and even people that have just got great, wholesome family content communities, people that do things in their lives. And I hear this all day long, instead of being, pain in somebody's butt, it's best that maybe you open up your eyes and ears and listen a little more. And if you don't want to, then move on. But this isn't where you're just going to keep on, kicking the crap out of all these people all day long. It's not very becoming. It's hard on the nervous system. It's hard on people's lives as it is. There's so much going on in the world right now, and there's so much darkness that's reigning around good people and getting on people to do silly, stupid things. It's like my account especially. I haven't got all the views and likes, and I've had a lot of stuff lately, banned, but I know why. And I've known why for a very long time, because they just don't want something that's here. So they've had the upper hand, but I just keep going. And I know that I haven't been consistent lately in my own, stuff, because I'm also listening to where the frequency and where everybody's at right now as we go through these days. We've had a lot of shifting and turning in the on the earth, and it changes by minute, where the frequency and where the people are going, where the earth is going. And at a snap of a finger, something changes, or something happens, or something goes on, So I've made it very clear in the past about, there's music out there that's provided on these channels. There's, all kinds of tools to be used. And a lot of people are working right in the parameters it's supposed to be. And I notice that the situations keep changing all the time. And these aren't creative people. They're just people that want to cause, pain and devastation and upset many. But it causes a ripple effect. And it's not okay. People have enough things going on in their lives as it is. And it's not that we're here to drag every single person through what we want to serve and all this other stuff. But it's not okay that you keep doing this to other people. And it's just about being the awareness, and being more conscious and respectful. I've seen recently here and listened to lots of people as I've been out in the grocery stores and just out in the day-to-day, and how a lot of people aren't even there. No consideration for the people who are standing there. There's just no help. There's just no feeling, no love, no care, no concern. It's busy doing whatever you're doing and leaving people just standing there. And we're all creatures of habit that, need to have that interaction and the love, and especially unconditional love. But it seems to be out the window right now. And it's a society that's pretty well numbed out, dead from the head. And it's for people that are pointing out that have been here for a very long time and very loving people. They just don't understand how the world's gone. But this is where the end times is kind of taking us right now, where humanity and these situations that come in our day-to-day lives that affect our nervous system. I've been watching a lot of more people swelling in the gut, and especially men, and our livers are swelling up, and it's all basically by the stress and frequency that's come in the earth and our nervous system. Our bodies get fatigued after a while. They get tired. The earth is draining a lot of energy right now. There's a lot of things going on and a lot of uncertainty. It's a big thing about our health, and our health needs to be, one of the biggest and first and foremost of our lives, to always keep it in check. We're computers in a meat suit, in a way, if you want to put it, for, some that love that terminology. But it's basically our nervous systems are very smart, and they know when our bodies are, hyperactive or hypersensitive. Empaths are a big part and play for many that feel everything on the earth. And just like me, I feel everything. And that's why I said, even like today, with the news that dropped earlier on today, it sure changed the pulse and the temperature of the earth. And that's how much, people on the earth, produce. That's how we should show this stuff, the Schumann resonance, the pulse. It's where it's got all these lines and colors and all that other stuff, and it shows all the frequencies and the pulse of the people and the earth and how everything's responding. And it's just like our bodies respond like this too. We get a lot of toxins, and our bodies start producing things that start, attacking our liver, attacking our heart, attacking our inner gut, and when we're stressed out and we're fatigued and frustrated and mad and angry, our bodies will start producing, a lot of, components that put our bodies into a protection mode, and we start building up all kinds of different situations that our bodies now, start going into a hyperactive point where it's attacking itself, and so at the same time it puts on a protection coat, and your body starts taking on more water and fluids, and you start getting more swelling. You can get down the feet, get into the legs, get in the gut, get in the upper chest region, and all over. And so then you got to start looking at your diets and looking at your stress level and changing how you feel, to get your body and to get it to relax and calm down. But it's very hard when you're in situations that, keep arising and keep coming at you at a constant attack all the time. It's as I've seen this week here, which doesn't help a lot of people, stress, is these fires. And I talked about in one of my other episodes about, the town that I was in and lost it, in a matter of 4.5 hours. And up in British Columbia, there's another place called Clinton, and same kind of thing. They just lost their whole town. Very devastating, due to the fact that they wouldn't allow water, shut the water off before the fire, got it on its way. And I've been watching this lately with all this water restrictions and water. Well, water's free on the earth to be used at the moment. And I keep hearing about this thing and these droughts, the water, lakes, all these things that keep happening. But I've been watching that, all the fires breaking out, especially through the U.S. What do we got now? We've got the Clinton, BC, Highway 5 BC, Highway 3 BC, Kelowna. We got Idaho. You know, we got places in California. We got France, Spain, Brazil. The whole world right now is lit up pretty red. And we've got all these individuals that don't seem to understand what's happening. And they don't realize that, you know, going up in these mountains and setting up slash piles and burning things and, you know, how to handle fires today. The whole fire system is completely shot. You know, and there is good people out there that are fighting it. And I'm sure some of you, you know, are doing as much as you possibly can. But there's all these stories I keep hearing about the stand down, stand away. But in doing so, people keep losing. And they're losing so much. And these people are not listening. They're not even there. They're not even functioning with the reality of what this is doing. What it's doing to the earth, what it's doing to our forestry, what it's doing to the animal habitat, and what it's doing for the people that are living in these regions and in these areas. And these fires with a wind, with a weather change, could turn in a hat. But I've been watching the practices and how these things have been handled, and right down to the deliberate setting of fires for these agendas. With the weather, the modifications, the greater gains, the destruction. People are not thinking these days rationally on what this is doing in the world right now, what its effect. We've just gone so many different ways with this. You know, we've been somebody's taught these people how to, you know, keep adding fire to fire. You know, we've put away a lot of our proper planes that we had. We've changed how we do forestry practice. We've put all these laws. We put all this stuff to stand in the way, and communities for years have got involved in helping out. But when people are standing there and they might be a mile down the road or 3 hours down the road, you know, with these type of fires going on, and stressing them out because they don't know what's happening. They don't know what's going on there. Some people say, well, if you know, it's over there, it's not in the way. But the fire that I had in my town was 3.5 hours away when it started, and they just kept maintaining, you know, and that's all I ever hear now is that we're maintaining, but we're not deliberately putting it out. We just keep this going. We keep all this chemical coming through the air, you know, the imbalance. It's so many multifaceted situations what we're doing at this moment. And for many, I know you don't quite understand all. But, you know, I'm trying to be as best diplomatic about it. But in honesty, it's just downright demonic with what's been happening. That this has been going on now for about 15 years, every single summer. We're always got this, they call it the fire season, the fire weather that comes on. It's the same program every year. And a 3.5 hour away fire and the change of a wind can be at your back door in about 15, 25 minutes. And that's what can happen. And that's why it's like it's imperative that these things be handled. But if we're going to go set fires, and we're not going to have all the equipment and tools at the disposal, or they've been taken away or legitimately put away in a museum somewhere, this isn't working out well. We've got people that are telling other people that they can't, you know, run water for the crops right now. You know, I've been listening to all these stories, and I have been for centuries and years, over, you know, everything from oranges to cherry trees to peaches to all their fruits and veggies and stuff that, we require off the earth, and they require to have water. But when we got all these chemicals, we got the weather, we got all the things that are flying around, it's drying out the land. But water does perk up. Everybody's always looking for the water to come down. But that's why our lakes are always stocked up in the summer, in the spring. Our oceans, all our stuff. We have water all around. But we got people all day long dictating to people, not to do this. But at the same time, how does, a few billion people able to get their food to table? And there's just been too much of this, socialist, left wing, right wing, liberal, non-liberal, conservative, whatever way you want to call it, war. But, there's a lot of individuals on the earth right now, and you'll require a couple things in your stomach. And that's basically some good, viable foods and water. And that's what's supplied on the earth. But people really have gone, they're not even there. They're not even in their heads anymore with the common sense that's going on. And it's very hard and very sad to see so many families being displaced. We got apartment buildings burning up in places. We got churches burning up. Lately there's been so many fires all over the place, but it does everything to the health. It does everything it affects everybody on the earth, and it causes a massive ripple effect. And my heart does go out for all the families and all the people that are, stuck in a rock and a hard place at this moment in time, and the grace of God to move the hand as much as you can. And, the prayers and for those people and wherever you can help. But we have to get a lot of these restrictions and these foul laws and stuff that, individuals that have no business and don't understand what it is to get that stuff put out and not to set it in the first place. And we can go back and forth on who's who and who's doing what, but thing is that I see and I've seen it and who's doing it, and I know there's an agenda by a lot of it. We have more and more stuff coming up at this moment in time right now. We've got this whole thing now about FLEC cameras and everything else that are coming over from Iran and other places being set up in all kinds of communities. You see them sitting there in the 7-Eleven parking lots. You see them going up on all the posts and stuff. Cameras all day long, surveillance. We're still going on heavily about this digital ID that's been happening. It's been this has been going on for so long now. I mean, we have some ID, we have some digital, we have all this stuff, but it's just becoming more that everything has to be this. It's still part of an agenda that they're trying to roll out, a 2030 agenda. By now, if you do not have information on most people on the earth right now, then there must be a problem with you. But it's just being, complacent and always having to give this stuff. We've had these groups running around here with census. All day long, people are signing, running your credit cards, running your debit cards, your passports, your licenses, all the stuff. There's so much information on the earth, and these people are standing beside and behind these bigger corporations that are doing this right now. It's not very becoming, and you haven't been taught very well in ability in life, and it's unfortunate. But maybe it's time for you to start looking at a different avenue and a different path or a different vocation, because it's not serving very well for many, And so these types of situations that are out and about right now through people is causing, all kinds of health and nervous issues and, basically throwing the energy off on the earth, throwing people off, and every time I turn around, it's like more and more, separation, divide, the love is gone. People are lost. They don't even know where to go. Don't know what to do. Because society, and a lot of it, hasn't woken itself up. Don't want to hear the truth. Don't want to hear all the things that are happening, the real stuff that's happening, where there's real watchers, real observers, and real people on the earth that were put here at this time, knowing that these situations were getting more and more, volatile and turned up. There just seems to be such a control to, keep locking things down and keeping all these things, so there's no freedom to move. There's no ability to, have your own conscious and free what was given to you on the earth here. Meanwhile, lots of people are losing stuff. We've got the rental. It's a big problem now. Got these games and the social media, because everybody's trying to sell. But we've got these bigger corporations that have got all these other people from other countries that are in your country, whichever that is. If it's England, if it's China, if it's the UK, France, Brazil, Colombia, United States, Upper North America. It's happening all over. But so much as it is now, we're building so many of these homes, but they're not even affordable. And they keep talking about affordable housing. And when people get displaced and try to get a mortgage or trying to get a rental accommodation, trying to, find what's their next, step in life, and they don't have these things, because it's a game, and they want to, sell a lot of this stuff and be controllers of it. And it's been happening a lot more. We've got so much empty homes, empty apartments that sit there. And it's easy to stage apartment, and so when people are driving by, they see all this construction, they see all these things going on, but it's not. It's still basically these bigger corporations and companies that put all their money and other people around the world and invested in a lot of these places. But it's become to a point with, banks and mortgage lenders and people trying to find that place, and half the stuff isn't even available. It's just always sitting there. It's basically, we're looking at it. So it's like a calling card or like a business card, to get you, moving and flowing in a way. But it doesn't still help for all the ones that still need a roof over their head. That's why it's like, we're all, beings that are to live a longevity life, and we can live very young and look very young and stay young for a very long time. Be 33 years old, basically, and stay in that for so long. But when our bodies are getting attacked with all these types of situations that, keep coming back at us, and our day-to-day lives that we get tangled up in, because basically we need to have water, need to have a roof overhead, some food in our belly, some clothes on our back, and with some freedom, in ourselves to be able to breathe, live consciously, and be able to have that life experience. And it's not that you bow out of life for, without anything going on. There's always going to be a few bumps and bruises. There's always going to be a few things. You got to feel your way through life too. But now it's like the conscious level of it is so, null right now. It's just that people are in autopilot, moving around and not aware of all the situation, not aware of others, and not understanding what other people are going through. And so it feels like a very wicked time right now. But like I said, these biggest things right now, it's a lot of stuff to, look at and deal with. And yes, there is a helping hand, and there is God is moving mountains in many situations. But us as people on the earth here, you have to be able to, start raising your own consciousness and being aware around you, for many, to help them understand that, we need to put these fires out. They're not to be maintained. We're not having a barbecue out there. Land is just getting devastated right now. And the airspace is getting filled up with so much toxins and chemicals. And just like our bodies, when we got, these types of stresses and stuff, they start creating toxins in our bodies. Our cholesterol, everything starts rising, And so then we got to go get other, types of devices and things which aren't healthy for you either. And so it's like the big thing now is that we need to see our way from these fire seasons. And we needed to get our water back and have our water so that we can be able to water our gardens, water the lawn, because it helps with all the animals, our birds, our raccoons, squirrels, all our domesticated animals in the cities, but also out there in the great forest and stuff, because they're getting displaced and the landscape is changing fast. And that's not, all that land is not there for all these mineral rights and all these other things that they keep wanting to try to take out, and all these data centers that they're trying to put in, and taking all this money to, go after other things. I mean, that's why I said it's like, I think we have enough with computers and information out there. And I don't know why we need to have thousands and thousands of ripping square feet of building space called data centers. I think it's a bigger agenda going on out there that's got to be questioned a lot more about. Because like I said, our water is precious. It's for us. It's for our food. And for all the farmers and people out there in their towns, literally need to tell those other officials that have no business being in the business that they're in. And they have no business being in city, township, or any of it, because they don't have the knowledge and the understanding. Because when it becomes time for food for people and yourself, that's your business. And that's what you were given here on the earth, is a gift. And the water is a gift to make sure that you can water, as long as you're maintaining proper, clean, resourceful food for yourself and for others. And I don't want to keep hearing about all this water being shut off, and then a town being burnt down, or people don't have access. They don't have the equipment, to put this stuff out. So if you like this content, share, like, subscribe, and keep praying for the ones that are, going through these devastating moments, and wherever help, just even in the energy of direction, to see that we need to pull ourselves away from this type of tyranny and devastation and demonic and dark energy that seems to be plaguing our earth right now. See you in the next one.